it not do? Why it not do?
This is J and P Talk Time. I'm P.
And I'm Jay, and today we are joined by Sister Amy. She is a fashion designer for a rock climbing company. Hey, Amy.
Hello.
Can you give us your actual definitive title?
Yes, so my actual title is Director of Design.
Director.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Gotcha.
Technically, I'm the head of my department, though it's a very tiny department. Me and one other person. Who's my boss, so.
And you work for Climb So Ill, correct?
I work for So Ill. Climb So Ill is actually the climbing gyms. So they're two separate companies. They're sister companies. We have Climb So Ill, which is the climbing gyms in St. Louis and in St. Charles. And then So Ill is the product side, and that's what I work on, designing.
For tax purposes, I'm sure.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I have here in my notes, why did you all model your business so that only people with COVID could come climb at your gyms?
What do you mean?
That's a good question.
Is that not correct?
No, I don't think so. I think that's
Timmy!
incorrect.
It's not people with COVID at the gym.
So you guys don't all get the test there when you come in? Then
I
you're
know it's
positive you
Climb
get to
So
climb?
Ill. That has nothing to do with it.
Now, I heard that if you came there and you didn't get a positive test, you could just go to the punch bowl and drink directly out of the ladle.
Ooh.
All right, so let's try to get back on track here.
Start over.
Okay, so
How much do you pay Timmy, Phil? Because they think it's too much.
So the owners, how did they know to make this business model before COVID-19 was discussed? That doesn't make any sense either. Timmy, they couldn't have known. Yeah, get in your cringe corner. He's been wanting an apple all day. I'm not even going to give him a core now.
Poor Timmy.
Oh my gosh.
I'll send him some apples.
Oh. Okay. Well, obviously, this has just started out horribly. Through no fault of ours. Okay. So can you tell us a little bit more about when did Climb So Ill and So Ill, when did the businesses start?
Good question. So the actual businesses first started about 15 years ago. It was two brothers, Dan and Dave, our cousins, and they rock climbed a lot growing up, and then when they were in college, they started hand pouring the climbing holds in their barn of their rental house that they were living in during college. And so that's kind of how they got started. They would go door to door with their little business cards and sell door to door, and there's all these stories of them going through the dumpsters and bars and digging for the cardboard boxes to send their hand poured holds because they couldn't afford to buy shipping boxes at the time. It was so new. So that was about 15 years ago, and then I think the first climbing gym opened up. Hey, I don't know exactly how long it's been. Maybe it's been 5 or 6 years at this point. The first one opened in St. Louis City, and then we opened the St. Charles one about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. So that one's a little bit newer.
Only someone from St. Louis would call it St. Louis City, Amy.
Yeah, no. Yep, because we have St. Louis City and then St. Louis County, so we have to differentiate.
Yeah, of course.
It's in the city, not the county.
Oh, yeah.
Did they really go door to door selling holds?
They told stories about, they had calling cards, whatever that means. And they were
a business card?
They were going, I don't think it was something different than a business card. I'm not quite sure what it was.
Because a calling card is something that a burglar would leave.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of something where you have a lead as well, and you go track it down?
What?
I don't know.
so.
Maybe not. Yeah, like a calling card. Like they want you to. They have somehow you know they have some interest in rock climbing.
Yes.
So you get their address and you sneak over there and maybe
sell them some holds.
maybe you put a bunch on their wall and then they come home and they can see and you're like climbing on them when they get there.
Yeah.
Yep. Demonstration.
Then you make them pay for it, and that's how
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah.
Huh.
So Amy, can you tell us about what kind of degree you got in college?
Yes, I double majored in fashion design and fashion merchandising.
Oh, now you're just
Yeah.
talking about how much better you are than we are.
Overachiever.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, it made sense. The fashion merchandising was only like, I think it may be an extra year to do it, but it just worked out with how the classes were structured. So
What's the
I went
difference?
for it.
The difference between those two degrees?
So fashion design, we more focused on the construction and creation of actual garments and like the design process that goes into designing actual piece of clothing. Whereas fashion merchandising is more thinking about like strategies to best display the merchandise in stores. So how to create effective displays, how to get products to push out the door.
Okay, and
Things
it's
like
like
that.
where you stand there and look haughty, and then
Yep,
when the people come by to look at your product, you're like, no, not for you.
exactly.
Not
No, you're not good enough for us. We don't serve your kind. It's like the moment, the pretty woman moment, where they deny her service, then she comes back with just like has the whole moment.
What?
What kind of things did you enjoy about getting your degree, Amy?
Oh, let's see. Well, I've always liked clothes and fashion, so it was fun to get to learn more about, I guess, the construction process and what actually goes into creation of a garment, because otherwise, we just don't really think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty cool. What else did I like about it? I liked the creative side. When I was choosing my degree, I was torn in a bunch of different directions. I knew I wanted to do something creative, but I wasn't sure what exactly I was going to do. So my first semester at MSU, Missouri State University, I took classes in basically every subject I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So I took fashion design, I took interior design, I took English, I took a literature class. And so I wasn't sure. I was thinking about, do I want to do interior design or fashion design or be an English teacher? So I took classes in all those fields and decided fashion seemed the most interesting, seemed to fit well with my personality, and I felt like I could have opportunities. So, yeah. It seemed like a good decision. I have no regrets.
I think you probably get a really familiar with the creative process since you're kind of in this startup company. I guess I'll say smaller company. So you kind of have to be a Jack or Jill of all trades.
Yes, that is very true. We say that all the time, especially if we're ever interviewing people to come in for new positions. We say everyone wears multiple hats in the company. It's just the way it is. It's not a startup because, like I mentioned before, we've been around for like 15 years. But it's still very much a small company. It feels like a startup.
Yeah, you're not one of those stupid little startup companies that's trying to invade your space. Yeah.
We're better than
That's
them.
right.
We've moved beyond that stage a little bit at least. At least a little.
Yeah, I hate those guys.
Yeah, me too.
Aww.
They're horrible.
You gotta start somewhere.
How many things do you think you've designed
like across my 4 years being at SOIL?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Hundreds? Because, well, the thing is, we'll design a lot of things. We'll have a good idea, and then we'll design it and kind of start to take it down the process. But then maybe production doesn't work out, or we can't even get samples made. We can't find the right factory to partner with us. So then it kind of goes on the back burner, and then some things we just get samples back, and we're like, nope, this is terrible. This was this is a bad idea. We're not gonna move forward anymore. So I'd say, in general, like overall, probably hundreds, but less than that have actually made it through the whole production process.
So these factories that you guys partner with, how singular is their manufacturing setup to? Can they just make one item? Can they make multiple items?
Like, are you asking how specialized they are if they work in a specific product category?
Yeah, like if one probably makes shoes because that kind of has like a bunch of things fitting together, but maybe if one's just like a general clothing factory, can they make pretty much anything in that area, or is it like you got to go and hunt for the right factory?
I think it's a little bit of both. So when it comes to footwear, we have like our climbing shoes, which are very technical, it takes very highly skilled people to make them. It's like it's craftsmanship. It's like artwork almost. The amount of hand, like grinding of the rubber and hand sewing, and it's very, very specialized.
When I make my macaroni pictures, like, you don't realize how much goes into that. So, like, you have to understand that there's a texture to the macaroni as well. And so it's actually going to bump up off the page. So it works really good for smoke with a train.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually what I go for.
And also it has double uses, Phil, because if you get hungry, you could just scrape it off the paper.
Yeah, that's why I never keep any of my pictures, because I end up eating them.
Oh, no. Ew.
I know, and I don't even bother to scrape it off. I just put it all in the pot of boiling water.
Oh.
It's not a good life.
You need help, buddy.
All right, now you were saying something before I interrupted you, Amy.
Yes, we were talking about the differences between the factories and how specialized they are within different product categories. So footwear, climbing shoe factories, very specialized. There's probably about 20 factories in the worldwide who can make the level of climbing shoes that we're looking for.
Really?
Yes.
Can you name off all these factories
Nope.
and their locations?
Nope, I don't actually know. I only know a few. But then on the other side of footwear, we have more of what we call lifestyle footwear. So if you think a little more like hiking shoes, kind of if you think sneakers, like day-to-day shoes that you could kind of wear. So we're working on a new collection with some more footwear like that. And so that would be a completely different factory from the climbing shoe factory that would produce these.
So you guys have got a great scam going. Because you make these shoes called approach shoes.
Yep.
So you have fashion shoes that you wear out there to wherever you're going rock climbing. Now you got to put on your approach shoes just to get up to where you're going to rock climb. Then you got to put on your rock climbing shoes. And then you need all the equipment for rock climbing.
Exactly. It's great.
I think it's great.
I think the government should get involved
Yeah.
and put out some regulations.
They need to monitor the situation a little bit more closely.
Yeah, people are being disenfranchised, etc.
Perhaps I shouldn't have used the word scam, because I love it. I love it.
It's great.
And you got to do as much of it with the clothes as you can. They need their jacket.
Exactly.
They need their jacket. You could have a light jacket for in the car, then a heavy jacket for the approach, and then you got
Do-rags.
do-rags. Their climbing t-shirts for when they go up.
We came out with bandanas recently.
Ah.
thinking a do-rag bag that you can keep all your do-rags in.
Oh, hey. That's an idea.
Ka-ching.
Hmm.
So, do you all follow a good, better, best type of model?
When it comes to
Um,
products?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Like,
What's better, best, Phil?
yeah,
So,
explain the
so
question a little
good,
more.
better, best is where you have a good product. It's kind of your bottom of the line product. And so you're trying to hit people within that market area or people who have the income that they can buy that product. And so it's not as good, but you're still making a good product. And then you have one that's one step above that called better. And you go, okay, so this one's a little bit better. This is kind of that middle tier. So people who are, in that have the income for it, they can buy that one. And then you have a best, which is just your fancy product, your best products. And those are for the high spenders.
I see, that makes sense. We do kind of have that a little bit. Like, if you think about climbing shoes, would probably be the best example of that. But we have like our lower price point, kind of more budget friendly shoe that's skewed more towards especially beginners because they're just getting into rock climbing. They're checking out the sport, seeing how they feel about it. They don't want to go drop $200 on an amazing pair of climbing shoes right away. So then we get them in at that $89, $79 price point budget shoe. It still performs well. But you won't be able to do all the fancy, heel hooks and toe hooks and all the edging that you could do with the really highly technical shoes. But it's still something that would perform well and be enjoyable to wear, especially for your first kind of foray into climbing. So yeah, we kind of do have that model a little bit. It just depends upon like what level you're at in the sport, whether if you need the super technical shoe with all the, gizmos and super sticky rubber, or if you're just beginning. And then we have like an intermediate, kind of moderate category as well for people that are not quite a beginner but aren't super highly advanced either.
So here's what I'm imagining. So you've got the lowest level ones, and they kind of hurt your toes a little bit when you get into them. Then you have the intermediate ones, and these cause stress fractures in your toes.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the expert ones, you actually have to cut your toes off just to get into the shoes.
They're so tightly fitting.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that analogy, Phil.
Well, what's your most successful product, Amy?
That's a great question. By successful, you mean
I suppose
like just sales volume?
I suppose sales
Units
volume
moved?
within a fiscal year.
Oh my goodness. The problem is I don't see a lot of the sales data.
Yeah. Well, what
So
what
I
do you know?
don't
Which product
know.
do you know? Which products do you know that have really killed it? Have really done well.
Our men's and women's denim has done very well. People have liked it a lot.
Denim's coming back.
Yeah, denim's always in style. You know that.
Can you hook us up with a couple denim vests, Amy?
We have jackets, but no vests.
Oh man,
But
I would like to see a camouflage denim line.
hey, maybe one of these days.
you know what? With the camouflage line they came out with, that's not that far fetched, Joey.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
actually might
We
be.
almost did a ladies like active legging pant in that same camo collection, but we didn't. We couldn't get the print right. But like the men's and women's jeans, they're super stretchy, so you can still wear them climbing, and they're really comfortable. But then they look nice and they fit nice. So then you go to dinner after, or you go to the bar or whatever, and you don't have to change your clothes to being at the climbing gym. I know the jeans have done really well. And then a couple of our climbing shoe models have been really successful. I think the Street LV are two of our best selling models. And the Street LV, if you've looked on the website or seen any of the climbing shoes, it's like that split color one, so the back half is black, The front half is that bright kind of seafoam green color.
I have, and as much as I've looked on the website before, but as much as I prepared for this interview, Amy, I didn't even think to look on the website this time.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
which sounds kind of dumb, doesn't it? Because I probably spent like an hour preparing, but
That's okay. No problem.
okay. So here's how you do it, though, Amy. So what you do
Okay.
is you slowly start taking denim pieces,
Hmm.
and then you'll have a whole pile of denim pieces, and then you can one night when everyone else is gone, you assemble them into vest for us.
Okay.
And then you just write it down as waste. And then you send us these vests.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be the coolest homeschoolers probably anywhere.
Nice. We have a couple machines at the office because we'll do a little bit of like prototyping and stuff. Sew a few things on if we need to. So I might be able to make some vests happen. I'll see what I can do.
I see you guys are starting to do like home wall kits.
Yes, we just rolled those out last weekend. Those went live on the website.
Those look really good.
They're super nice. There's a lot of options, lots of color options. It's super great. Especially when COVID happened, we noticed with our climbing holds, there was a huge surge in demand because climbing gyms are all closed. You got to build out your home wall if you want to climb. So we, that was really, really helpful for us, for sure, because it was a scary time for a lot of smaller companies. And still is. I mean, it's still crazy, but yeah. So after we saw how all that went, we thought we gotta build our home wall kits up better.
Nice.
People can get exactly what they want.
Well, you guys have some really iconic holds. Like, I'll watch those bouldering competitions. I'll be like, oh, there's a Climb So Ill hold.
Yeah. Yeah, they have some pretty crazy and unique shapes. Our shaper, Jason Kell, he is really good, amazingly talented. He does like all the shaping and is great. When you watch those bouldering competitions, Joey, do you ever see the baby head on any of the walls?
I don't remember seeing the baby head, and my guess is that they purposely don't put it on there.
Oh,
I don't
that's
know.
our best-selling hold.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was one, it almost didn't go into production, too. Jason Kell, who shaped it, he had talked to the factory and said, go ahead, open the mold, and let's start making this baby head. And then Dan found out and was like, wait, I don't know about this baby head. I'm not sure we should go ahead with this. But Jason talked him into it and said, no, come on, we gotta do this. So they did. Best-selling hold.
That's awesome.
We have several in the office, and they're pretty cool. A little freaky, but...
You ever slap them?
I don't slap them, but I will pat their head. Nice, baby.
When you're late at work, still working, do you ever get up and talk to them?
No, I haven't yet.
Good baby.
Nice, baby.
Gucci goo.
Aww.
So who comes up with the idea for a product, Amy?
It's mainly Dan. He's the idea guy.
Okay.
And then
He's the owner operator, right?
Yes,
Okay.
he is one of the founders. So the founder, I should say. So yes, mainly him with the ideas, and then we also do, because we have a partnership with Jason Momoa where we do collection for him for like apparel and footwear and accessories. Sometimes Jason will have ideas and just say, "Let's do this," and so we do.
Cool. I was gonna ask, how involved is Jason with you guys? Does he ever swing by and like give you a ride in
Just
his
hang
car
out?
or anything? Does he bring the trident with him?
I should ask him to. He's super crazy busy, of course. He's filming Aquaman 2 right now.
There's a
but
second
he did
one?
come. Yeah, there's a second one. They're filming the second one right now.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know the first one had come
know.
out yet.
Oh yeah. Several years ago. Yep.
So in the movie, is he gonna hop on any climbing holds, or
That would be cool.
maybe he has to like climb up a rock wall to get to the girl or whatever?
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Yeah.
We actually have a couple things that we're working on with him, and he's trying to see if he can like sneak them into the movie, like be wearing them, and then you'll see it. So we're hopeful. We'll see. It'd be pretty cool.
I hope it's one of the do-rags.
That would be great.
Now, does Aquaman lose his power when he comes out of the water?
Does he lose his power?
I
I'm trying
don't
to
know.
remember the movie.
Yeah,
I don't think he does.
I don't know much about Aquaman.
Yes, it's been a while. I saw the movie when it came out a few years ago, but it's been a while. I don't think he loses his power.
Okay.
I think he's from the water, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean, he stays in the water most of the time anyway. But well, yeah, I don't know about his origin. I know some of the SpongeBob ripoff origins of Aquaman. I forget what they were called. Something and Barnacle Boy. And Barnacle Boy was the sidekick. But I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember the name of the first one. All right, Amy. So, is it true that if I get one of your crash pads, my friends are forced to let me stay the night?
Because it's a crash pad?
Yeah. It's not
air quotes.
It's not
crash pad.
It's not even a good joke. Let's move on.
Or does it mean you're...
Did Timmy give you that joke? Is that where that came from?
No, not this time. But that's because he's locked in his crawl space again.
Oh, poor
he
Timmy.
couldn't feed me that one.
Is that his cringe corner too?
No, his cringe corner was actually it's actually kind of over by the kitchen, but I wanted him to go there, but then I was pretty disappointed, so he got downgraded into his crawl space. It's
Aww.
yeah, it's horrible. So how can you tell us how you go through developing a product? What's the process for it?
Yes, I can. So let's see where to start. Well, it all starts with the initial concept, the idea. And like I said, a lot of that comes from Dan, or if it's for something for On the Roam, for Jason's collection, then a lot of times it'll be something Jason wants to do. So we start with the idea, then we get into design. So figuring out, like if it's a shoe, what is the purpose of the shoe? What features do we need? Is it going to be, men's or women? What colorways are we going to do it in? Things like that. So then, once we have our design figured out, which is a huge part of the process. I think that part is always difficult for me. It's kind of the big starting point. But once we have design finalized, then we move into prototypes. And prototypes are, again, if we're using a shoe as an example, prototypes are like the first attempt at getting the outsole correct, which is the bottom part of the shoe, and then as well as the upper of the shoe. Because things like materials and colors, they matter, but they don't, at the prototyping stage, they don't really matter as much because we're so focused on getting those two things right, the two main components of the shoe. And so we go through usually 2 to 3 prototypes with outsole tweaks and upper tweaks and making sure we get everything looking correct. And then once we get through our prototypes, then we move into samples, which are, then we're focusing more on aesthetics and making sure it's in the right colorways, all the trims are correct, the materials are the correct materials we want to use, all that good stuff. And then usually we try to shoot for about 3 sample rounds, so we don't want to go. Sometimes we can get it done in 2, but we try not to push it more than 3 because that just extends your process and takes forever. So then once we get the sample finalized, we pass it off to marketing, and marketing gets to take over, and they get to do photo shoots and video shoots and build out their email blasts and their social media campaigns for the new product that we'll release. And then we place the PO, the production order, and the factory makes it. Then usually they'll send us like a TOP sample, which is top of production. So they have the line going, they have it about to start. They make one, they send it to us to approve, and then if we approve it, then they go for it with the rest of production, and they make the 500 pairs or the 2,000 pairs, however many we've ordered. And then we get it.
Kind of like when you're selling a barrel of apples, you put the good ones on top.
Yep, exactly.
So yeah.
Or how you're not supposed to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Okay. And then, yeah, once production, we've given the go-ahead for production to start. They make everything. It arrives, depending upon if we ship it in by air or if we ship it in by ocean. The arrival times are a lot different because ocean takes forever because it goes in a container on a giant boat.
Oh, on a boat, not in the ocean.
Yeah,
okay.
Correct. No, Aquaman brings it to us, Joey.
Okay. I thought maybe you threw it in the ocean and you let the waves bring it to the U.S.
The sea creatures are like, there's like a line of sea creatures coming across the water, and you all are on the shores, like taking it from them.
Like a Disney princess or something. The sea creatures are your animal companions. But no, depending upon if we do an ocean shipment, it takes like about 3 months to get here. And then if we do air shipment, it can be a lot quicker because they can put it on an airplane, so much faster. And then once product arrives, it arrives into our warehouse in Fenton, so it's about 20 minutes outside of St. Louis, which is great. It's super handy. And then we do QC checks, so quality control checks. They have those going on, like there are people on the floor of the factories, like checking the line as production's rolling through. But when we actually get product, then we go through and we do some spot checks and make sure we're looking good before we ship out to customers. So it's a whole process. It's a big ordeal.
So is it better to have a warehouse kind of on the outskirts of a major city?
I think it might be helpful. Like, I'm not involved too much with the warehouse side, but I imagine for receiving shipments, like,
or sending out.
Yeah, there's like the big trucks can get in and out better, as opposed to trying to be like in the heart of St. Louis trying to have all these deliveries. So I'm sure it probably helps to be on the outside a little bit.
That makes sense.
So could you take us a little bit more in detail in the designing process?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can.
Can we design a product right now?
Do we have to? I'm outside of work hours, Joey.
Open up MS Paint, Joey.
No. Send me your concepts. I'll run them by Dan and see what he says.
Okay.
Okay. So Dan gets the idea. So he gets the idea. How does he convey the idea to the rest of the team? So like to you, so that you can begin putting it together.
Yes. Okay, so it kind of depends on what the idea is. Because sometimes the idea is as simple as we're going to do a new wash in our men's and women's jeans. So then that's super easy because it's just an update to an existing product, which is not a problem at all. Sometimes when it's a brand new idea,
I wash my jeans too. Sometimes.
Yeah. I watch them and I never see them move.
Nice. These puns are too much.
They're so dumb.
That's pretty funny though. But if it's a brand new product idea, well, let's see. I'm trying to think of an example of something that's brand new. What have we done? We kind of go about it a couple of ways. We kind of did this when we first partnered with Jason for his On the Roam collection. We wanted to do like footwear, and we wanted to do bags and some climbing. We did a climbing shoe with him and some chalk bags and chalk buckets. But the way we did it is Jason had things that he really liked already. Like he had a bag he loved. He had a pair of shoes that he really loved. So he was kind of like, take the main elements of this and, modernize it. And that was kind of our strategy for the first On the Roam collection. So usually we have like inspiration pieces that help us a lot. So then we can kind of dig into those and then just start drawing and figure out what the lines need to be, like the general idea of what we want this to do and what it's going to be used for. That's kind of how it goes with a new product. We have inspiration pieces help us a lot. Then we just draw it. We go through a lot of drawing.
Mm-hmm. And I think I saw you do CAD drawing. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
I do. Yes.
Which is
so the technical
computer-aided drafting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So I work in Illustrator. So I create the CADs in Illustrator. And then once we get those how we want them, then we create the tech packs. And that's like a blueprint kind of for the factory. So it has the technical drawings, it has like a material map with all the different materials that the product is going to use. It has, what all does the tech pack have? It has specs in it. So if it's like clothing or anything, we'll have a spec sheet so they can follow that for sampling and production, and information on like branding and labels and anything of that nature. So it's kind of like everything you need to make this product. It's in this little package, all nice and neat for the factory, and we send it to them.
So it's like you have a shoe, but it's digital.
Yes, pretty much. Yep. And we'll do like with the technical drawings, we'll have all kinds of different views. You have your medial, your lateral, your overhead, your outsole views. We'll have like all the colors and all the materials and just everything that makes up the shoe.
What about the laces?
The laces are in there.
Oh, okay. You didn't lie. You're telling the
Didn't
truth.
Thanks.
Those
I
come
thought I
with
was-
most
I-
shoes. Yeah.
I thought I was gonna get you, Amy.
With the laces?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna talk about the laces, and she's gonna be caught off guard.
Them laces, though, they do trip you up when they're not tied. Hey.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that enough detail for that question?
Yeah, I think so.
Did I get into it enough?
Unless you have anything more to add.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
That was enough.
So I know that you coordinate with the factories a lot. How often are you coordinating with them? Is this a thing where you're getting daily updates, or is this when a certain amount of work is done or a certain amount of time is done, then you'll come back and speak to them again? How does that work?
So we're communicating with them pretty much daily. So how it works with kind of our two main, okay, let me explain this better. I'm not explaining it very well. So sometimes we work directly with a factory, and it's someone who works as like a sales representative for the factory. But in a lot of cases, we actually work with agents. And so they're not really specifically affiliated with one certain factory. Their job is they know a lot of factories, and so when you say, hey, I want to produce t-shirts, they can be like, okay, I'm going to go find you a knit factory that can do this. And then when you say, okay, I want to produce men's and women's jeans, they say, okay, I'm going to go find a denim factory. So, because comes to agents, we talk to them on the daily about like multiple different products and where they are in the development process. So sometimes it might be, we're having a conversation about one thing on this day, and then a few days go by until we get an update on that same product. But in the meantime, maybe the next day I'm talking to them about a different product. So it's kind of a conversation going back and forth. And then something that I've had to learn recently is really how to manage and stay on top of, like, what product is in what stage of development. Is the factory waiting on us for comments or feedback that we need to give to them on recent samples that have come in? Or are we waiting on the factory and we haven't heard back for a little bit about like samples they're working on, and we need to push them and say, where are our samples? We need them. So that's kind of been something I've been learning about, how to balance, and I would say overall it's just a constant conversation.
Okay.
Man, what did Dan do without you?
I don't know. Okay, this is a sidebar, but it's kind of funny. One of the, like, our main marketing guy, our head of marketing, when Dan was first talking about hiring me on, Dan mentioned it to this guy, and this guy was like, but what is she going to do all day? And now, like, I talked to him about that, and he's like, I don't know why I ever said that. This is great. As I'm over there drowning in work.
Well, here, Amy, as you know, our podcast has a huge reach.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
yay.
everybody hears it. And so we get all these people for causes, like, and we've really, like, affected the world a lot. So
I heard
Nice.
the president listens to our podcast now.
yeah.
Trump, not Biden.
Oh, yeah.
The real president.
Oh my.
So we're gonna try to help you out here, okay? All right. All
Okay.
right, here it is. All right, I'm about to get all the masses. This is like all the sea creatures following Aquaman. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here we
do
go.
sea creatures follow him?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's an irrelevant detail.
Never mind.
That had nothing to do with it, Joey.
Okay, I was wondering if that was a thing. I was getting confused.
All right,
It
Joey.
was just an analogy.
All right, Joey. Let's gather our masses right now. All right, I'm going to do it now. All right.
Okay.
More money.
Yes.
More money.
me need money. Money me now.
No, not for us, Joey. For Amy.
Oh.
Yeah.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thanks.
But, they could give some to us too. Like, that'd be okay too. I mean, surely Aquaman gives some, like, treats to the little animal helpers too, don't you think?
Does he toss gold coins around underwater? I feel like it's a thing.
I don't know. I don't think so.
We need the Aquaman to come on and so I can pick his brain.
I think part of our problem here at J&P is that we're not sure what's reality and what's not. And that trips us up a lot.
Yeah, like
That is a conundrum.
Am I even here right now? I don't know.
Yeah. So we know Aquaman's real, so have Aquaman come on. Because, we're only interested in real things.
Also, if we could get the people from the Matrix too, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to pick their brain.
I don't know. Neo's kind of stuck up. What about Morpheus?
Yeah, he's like a father figure to me.
Oh yeah.
Want to hear a random fun fact?
Of course we do.
Okay, we recently moved about a year ago to a new office location on the hill in St. Louis.
Mhm.
And the place that used to be there before, the lady who owned it, she was the costume designer for The Matrix.
Wow.
She did all the costumes.
Thank you for tying my ramblings back into place, Amy.
You're welcome. It's all full circle.
That's cool. So she had the idea, well, how much leather can I possibly fit on a human being's body?
I guess so.
Well, they're great. I love it.
Yeah. I thought that was so cool when I found that out.
The denim vest would be better though.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
What's your favorite product that you've designed, Amy?
Oh, good question.
Are you like a mother who loves all her children equally?
I don't know about that. I'd say.
Yeah, because we know
that's a
that's
good
a bunch of
question.
crap.
Yeah,
All mothers
I think,
have their favorite.
I think what I'm most proud of is probably what we're working on now, which is the we're going through and updating, doing a new line of climbing shoes. So I'm pretty proud of that. And that's been a whole team effort when it comes to the design and everything and all the decisions on those. And then we're also doing a lifestyle footwear line that I did a lot of work on that I'm really proud of. So I think it's hard. I can't really talk about it too much because they haven't released yet, but probably those two projects have been the most fulfilling and the proudest I've ever been of something I've worked on.
So Joey, your mom had a favorite. That I found that interesting because my mom had a favorite too.
Yeah.
And
I never knew who her favorite was. I
Yeah.
just knew it wasn't me.
Yeah.
Because she would repeatedly tell me that every night.
Oh, you're so charismatic. You're the funny one.
Yeah, that's all I got though.
Aww.
Thank you for saying that. That was nice, Amy.
No, I mean, it was true.
Yay!
Hey, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what you've forgotten to do?
What's that?
What day is it?
I think it's
It's
my birthday.
It's Monday.
My birthday's coming up. That's right.
Yeah, your birthday is coming up, isn't it?
Happy birthday, Joey.
Happy birthday 3 weeks early.
So I guess we should congratulate Amy on making another year. A very successful year, I think. Good job.
Thanks.
One
more year.
My present should be somewhere at your house.
It arrived this evening. I
Okay,
saw
good.
it when I went out to check the mail. Thank you
Good.
so much. I'm very excited.
What'd you get her?
Wobble board.
Oh, wobble board. Gotcha.
To do all my balancing yoga poses
Mhm.
on it.
You're so into yoga. It's funny.
I actually don't do it that much anymore. I've gotten back more into Pilates, but I do like the yoga. It's fun.
So, what's the difference between yoga and Pilates?
Yoga is a lot of you hold your poses quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's focused a lot on like the breathing aspect. So you kind of breathe with your movement as you're moving into different poses.
Okay.
Kind of.
Pilates.
They're two different.
go ahead,
they're just
Phil.
2 different words too.
Yeah. Well, it sounds
Yeah.
like I've been doing yoga in bed because I hold my poses pretty good, and I
Huh.
think I'm
As you're
breathing.
sleeping.
Good job.
Get out of here. Oh my gosh. But Pilates is more like it's high reps, so you do a certain move over and over again, lots of different reps, and then you move on to the next one. So that's kind of the main difference. Pilates is more fast paced, higher reps, yoga, lots of poses, but slower and holding the poses. So
Gotcha.
All right, Joey. Can you think of any good puns for Pilates? Because that's a word
I-
that sounds like it needs puns.
See, I was waiting for when you get to the pie part. I assumed there was pie involved. Pie lattes.
Oh.
Lattes of pie. That's the best I got.
yikes.
That was pretty sad. Everybody, Ted really cringed bad
Yeah.
after that one.
Man, that guy though. Yeah, he doesn't know good jokes though. So you can't go off that.
Well, yeah.
Well, so happy birthday, Joey. And
Thank
Amy,
you.
What kind of displays do you do? Because you're in charge of setting up displays, I believe.
Yes, so I do like the window displays in our So Ill HQ office. So we have like I think 4 or 5 big windows, like street level, that I get to do. So when, for example, when we release new product on the website, then a lot of times we'll change out one of the displays to showcase the new product that arrived. And then I also do, for the climbing gyms, for both locations, I do displays within their pro shops. So if you visit the climbing gyms, you'll see a lot of brands like Prana or Topo, so like outdoor brands. And we're in the unique position because we have the climbing gym side, and then we have the product side to actually have our merchandise in our climbing gyms.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's such a great scam.
yeah, exactly. So if if you love climbing at the gym and you'll see our shoes and you'll see our clothing, and if you're a fan of the climbing gym, you might become a fan of the brand. So we really like to have our stuff there, and we do we try to do about bi-monthly or every 3 months to change out the displays. So again, as we have like new product releasing or arriving at the warehouse, then we'll kind of build a display and design a display around that. And then we usually do the same display idea at both locations. So most recently, maybe about a month ago or so, I did a men's and women's denim display at both locations. So that's pretty fun.
So how often do you sabotage the equipment that people come in with from other companies?
Oh, like their own personal equipment.
Yeah.
Like if they bought like Black Diamond or something,
Yeah.
or La Sportiva shoes or whatever.
Yeah, which are
How often am I getting in there and
yeah.
tearing them up?
Uh-huh.
I don't. You know me, guys. I don't do that.
Yeah.
Oh, she
sure,
does it.
sure.
She does it all the time. She's
No, little old me. No.
had a lot of accidents lately at the gym.
Is your insurance up to date? That's terrible.
So Amy, I had a question. So with these displays, are you building the entire displays, or do you have like shelves ready built and you're kind of swapping out the items within those shelves?
Kind of more like the second option you described. We have trying to think of what they're called. We have like a shelf. It depends upon the location. At the St. Charles gym, we have more of a shelf, and then we kind of just swap out signage and swap out mannequins and product. But then at the downtown location, we kind of have 3 separate areas we're working with, and they're kind of separated a little bit within the pro shop. So we actually ended up building out these like wooden frames. If you think of like a big piece of plywood, and then we framed it out nicely, and that way we can just easily like screw signage into it. We can hang product. We don't have to worry about damaging their walls or anything. We can easily change stuff out. So we kind of do have that whole system built out in the St. Louis gym, which is great. But then it's just like, since we have that done, then we're just changing our product, we're changing out signage. It's kind of the main deal. So I don't have to do a whole huge build every single time.
So you have enough inventory that you can use. Well, I say inventory, but I mean you have enough props you can use for the displays at this point.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
So we don't have to buy like a whole ton of stuff every time, which is great. Because that's how it used to be in the beginning, and then it was difficult and time consuming to set up, and this system is much better, so I am loving it. It's great.
And do you have a mobile one for the trade shows that you all go to?
That's a great question. Well, okay, because of COVID, so many of the trade shows were canceled, so we didn't really do any. We're not going to any this year. We didn't go last summer. The trade shows are just, oh man, it's its own beast. It's crazy.
What do you usually get for a shoe when you go trade it?
You know that's not what it is. That's
Oh.
not at all what it is.
Okay.
Magic beans.
Oh. Well, to get back to your question,
Uh-huh.
when it came to the trade shows, it was a huge build out ordeal. It was a lot more intense than what we do for the climbing gyms. It's just a lot more space you're working with. I think we usually have like a 10-foot by 20-foot booth, 10 by 10 booth. It's one of those. But then you're working with so much more space, and you have to figure out how you're gonna display all the product and what product you're bringing, and you have to kind of bring a lot of them. You have to kind of bring like a wall setup, so how you're gonna create the walls for your booth, and then be able to hang everything on. So it's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of space when you start talking about displaying products.
Yes, it is.
How much value would you say you get from attending a trade show?
It depends. It's hard to say. Because it's a big investment. So not only do you have to build out like your system and everything just to rent the booth space, I think is usually for the outdoor retailer show that's in Denver, it's about 10 grand to do that. So it's a big investment, and then you have to get the team down there and do all this stuff. But at some trade shows, sometimes you make the best connections and you meet the right people, and you're able to, I don't know, sometimes it really pays off. So it's hard to tell. I mean, Dan tells stories about how he's gone to trade shows and shown product and nobody's gotten it, and it's just been a disaster. But then you hit that one right person at the right time at the right place, and it's life changing. A quick sidebar. I think this is correct. Our connection with Jason Momoa kind of came through one of those failed trade shows. Dan had gone to one, and it didn't work out, and nobody was excited about any of the product or anything. And so he decided, well, this is a failure, but I'm going to go to the climbing gym that's here and have a good time. And it was the climbing gym that I believe Jason climbed at, and I don't know if it was the manager or the owner, but like they knew Dan, and then they were like, Jason Momoa climbs here, and he's like interested in your brand and climbs in your brand's product, and so kind of a connection was formed through that, like almost like that. Yeah, I don't even know how to say it, but something that was going so badly, and then it just took that one thing, and this whole connection was formed. That it's been amazing.
So Jason just came and scooped Dan up in his big strong arms, and off they went.
He pinned some mugger to the alley wall with a trident.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought that was a great story.
All right, Amy, is there anything else that you want to say about your job and about, what it is that you do? Does anything else come to mind?
I think we covered most of it. I guess the only other thing I want to say is that I love where I work. It's great. It's been so much fun. I don't really see myself anywhere else. And some people, like I think about big companies, a lot of times people get kind of stuck in one area and they do the same thing over and over again, especially in like the design fields and creative fields. If you're a technical designer for a big company, then you're a technical designer and you don't really touch much else of the development process. But because I work for such a small company, I get to take a product from the very beginning all the way through to the very end, final product, and see it up on the website and to see like customer reviews and reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
To see the whole process. I feel like sometimes I get bored easily, so getting to work through everything is, it's perfect for me. It's like a dream come true. To seeing the whole process and to kind of have my hands in every little bit and piece of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Do you rock climb, Amy?
I do a little bit.
No, okay, let's
Recreationally.
move on quickly here.
I have in my notes that one of the perks you like about where you work is that random people from the street will come inside and talk to you, and it's such a great experience for you to meet so many new and different people.
Oh, yes, it's just wonderful when you're
Yeah.
drowning in work and people are wanting to talk. It's not as bad now, but
Because the
I
COVID
mentioned
wiped
earlier-
them out.
well, I mean, maybe a little. But as I mentioned earlier, we moved to our new office location on the Hill in St. Louis. And the Hill is like the little Italy of St. Louis. So it's, lots of Italian families, and people are very, they're very friendly, and they're very interested in what's going on. And we did a whole, rehab of the building because it was dark and it was dirty and it was just a hot mess, this old building. So we did the whole rehab, so then the neighborhood was watching through all of that, and they were like, what is this going to be? What's going on? So then we finally got all that done, and then they just, it'll be little old ladies that'll stop in and be like, because at one point the building was a furniture store, and they'll say, I came with my mom, and we bought furniture here.
Did there used to be furniture here?
Oh.
Gladys!
So sometimes...
Gladys!
Oh my. So it is fun to hear those stories and to see people be excited about a business moving into the neighborhood. But sometimes it can be a little frustrating. Some of the people are a bit nosy, so
I'm sure it can be off-putting, but I also think that's really cool that you all are kind of welcoming to people. You need to designate somebody's job to do it is what you need.
I know, and the bad thing is I'm right by the door. My desk is the closest to the door, so then it's almost always me who's
get out.
Deal with it. I'm trying to do this. Hang on.
You throw one of your high-line shoes at them.
Oh, our big the next big project that we're kind of working on as far as the building goes is that we're gonna open up a showroom. So it will be people can actually come in and they can shop, and there will be some things they can purchase there and take home that day, but a lot of stuff will be, if you want it, you have one of each size, you can try it on, make sure it fits, you get the right size, and then we'll order it from you and ship it from our Fenton warehouse. So that's kind of late August. We're planning to actually be open to the public, so
cool.
That will be cool. People will finally get to come in and look around. And we will get no work done, but it'll be great.
That's going to be interesting.
I think when we get to that point, we may hire someone who will actually kind of customer service and take care of the people, check people out. And
people will just be coming up to your desk and looking at the new stuff that's coming out and asking you questions all the time.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I wouldn't have done it that way.
You're really gonna go with that color? Really? Sure about that?
Man.
Oh, hopefully not. I'm sure it won't be that bad. And I think we're gonna I think at the beginning we're just gonna have it be open 9 to 5 when our office hours are, but if it gets crazy or obnoxious, I think we've talked about going to by appointment only, so we have some plan B if it doesn't quite work out so well.
Yeah, well, man, I don't know if it gets that crazy. You may want to rent another store and do it there.
That's true.
It might be worth it. I don't know if you can talk about this or not. If you can't, we'll cut it out. So, Amy, I know you all were doing a documentary. Are you able to tell us any about that documentary of your company?
I think I can talk a little bit about it.
Okay.
I am not super involved with this side. I'd forgotten I had told you about this. But yes, we've gotten almost all the filming done. We have, I think, maybe 4 more days of filming coming up in the fall. But over the summer we had film crew come in, and we filmed some at the office, and we filmed some like around St. Louis, and then we filmed some in Southern Illinois, back where the brand first started. I forgot to say that as well. So ill stands for Southern Illinois because that's where the two brothers were living.
Oh,
And that's where everything first got started with the company.
not COVID.
Yeah.
Correct. It
Okay.
has nothing to
Okay,
do
all
with
right.
an illness.
I thought
Yep.
maybe they went and visited a lab somewhere in Wuhan.
I just
A
now
long
got
time
your
ago.
joke, Phil. I just now got it.
Oh. The Timmy joke at the beginning?
No, the why did you design a company for COVID?
Oh.
People who use
Yes.
COVID.
Yeah. It's that one threw me off at first as well, but then I was like, oh, the so ill. I got it. But back to the documentary. So filming's pretty much done. They filmed me some. So that was
So was this
terrifying.
when they were filming other people and you tried to get in the background?
Or was this when
I
you were
snuck in.
when you were verbally assaulting your assistant and throwing things at her?
Yeah, I threw coffee in her
Okay,
face.
good.
Yeah.
That'll be great
They
television.
caught all that. It'll be great reality TV.
It's gonna be
Super
like
dramatic.
a Jerry Springer show.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
When this comes out, are you able to tell us where we'll be able to see it at?
I don't personally know.
Okay, you don't know, but your YouTube channel is Take Hold. Is that right?
Take hold.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. I think the goal is to have it picked up by to not do a YouTube release and have it picked up by a bigger company. So, but I'm not super in the know on the details there.
Yeah.
I'm checking my notes and it says it's going to be on the internet. Is that right, Amy?
I think that's the hope.
Okay.
On the computer internet?
Yes.
No, I think like the iPhone internet.
Like okay.
Yeah.
5G only.
I don't know.
You don't have that 5G, you ain't gonna get to watch it.
Yeah, we don't want anybody below 5G because they're dirty.
And you have to have a glass of wine and a real snotty look on your face while you watch it. Otherwise, you're not wanted.
Exactly. But it's just gonna be the story of the company and the founders and all the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it.
Yeah.
Well,
In their
a lot
holds?
of the not literally,
Oh.
but figuratively.
Oh.
Maybe a little bit of blood. Literally. I
They're
don't
like,
know.
oh,
Things-
we're a
things
little
get
bit
crazy."
short for this one. They're like, I can't give any more blood today. I'm passing out.
No.
This is like rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem, isn't it? Is that? Never mind. Goat's blood there, I think.
Yeah.
I forget. That's why we're not professionals, Joey, is because I start saying things like that and then I'm not sure.
You're getting paid money for this?
No, that's why we're not professionals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I am getting paid money. And it's going to trickle down to you at some point here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get all my money from my credit cards.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Me too.
Nice.
That 2% cash back? Nice.
Yeah, but it ends up being like 18% out.
Yep. You gotta be careful about that.
Whoops.
Oh.
So I know you had an internship that didn't go so well.
Oh, yeah.
So would you like to bash the company for a while now?
I mean, I don't know. I can talk about it. I don't know that I want to bash a bunch about it.
Okay,
but
well tell us what went on with this internship. This was in college, right?
This was in college, yes. Because I double majored, I actually had to do 2 internships. My first one I did in St. Louis, and this was my fashion merchandising internship, and I worked at a little store. It was a boutique, like consignment, high-end designer store. But this was the good one. This was the fun one. And then the bad one was in Cleveland, Ohio. I think this was, I guess I had walked for graduation, but I still needed this internship to technically graduate. So this was after classes were all done, just had to finish this internship. So it's Cleveland, Ohio, summer of 2017, and we were in an old, kind of repurposed warehouse building, and it was a really cool building, but it had no air conditioning. It was the middle of summer,
Ooh.
so it was very hot. And it was supposed to be a pattern making internship, so I was supposed to be learning more about pattern making and how to draft patterns for different types of garments and how to grade the patterns for like all the different sizes and for men's and women's and all that stuff. But it kind of just turned into, they had free labor, so they used it. So I just became there. After a certain point, me and one other girl kind of just became there. Oh, our production messed up really bad. Here, rip all these seams out and just sit here and do that all day. So I did a lot of that. And they were working on they wanted to build their own brand up. For the most part, they took like commissions and they would do like custom pattern work and like produce custom garments for people. They did some stuff for LeBron James because he's from that area.
He had a better time in Cleveland than you did, though, I think.
I think he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much better. But, yeah, they wanted to build their own brand up. That was they were doing like little basic just t-shirts. So it was really simple and it wasn't anything groundbreaking or super awesome. It was just like t-shirts. But their whole thing was like, they called it like Midwest Basics, and their whole thing was just like, we're made in the Midwest, we're made in USA. So that was their big thing. The product wasn't anything special, but the Made in USA was going to be their big push, I guess. So then they were so focused on that and pushing so hard on that, and then it was just kind of like, we don't have time to teach the interns much. So it was kind of disappointing. But I got to live with my sister, and we had a great time. So
good.
We would do all kinds of things.
And now you have your own fashion line. So
well, kind of.
We're gonna say it's all yours.
It's not really mine, but
all
I get to
Amy's.
work on it, which is great.
So Amy, are you one of the 1%ers?
What does that mean? As in like top tier income level?
Yeah. Do you have your own fashion line? Looks like you're living pretty good.
It's not my own fashion line. I work for a company that produces products.
What do you think about doing purses, Amy? Because if you can get people to buy them, the margins are ridiculous.
Oh, are you talking about like high-end luxury purses?
Yeah, like what I've seen on the Profit. That's the extent of my business knowledge, Amy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, it's crazy. It's incredible. It's actually very interesting. If you buy the right bag, like those Chanel's or Louis Vuittons, those will hold their value incredibly well.
Mm-hmm.
It's really strange. I find it bizarre. I don't really understand. Because when you think about it, I mean, if you want to pay premium for materials like amazing leather, super nice hardware, like I understand, but that cost for super nice materials can only go so far, and it's not going to be in the thousands of dollars. So you're just paying for the brand. Which, if you want to do that, that's fine, but I don't really get it.
No, Amy, you're being too nice. That's stupid.
It's a status symbol. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Do you recommend Chanel's and Gucci as like an investment portfolio?
I mean, I've heard that like Louis Vuittons supposedly do better than like a lot of I don't know, stocks or whatever.
Louis Vuitton?
Louis Vuitton. It's French, so I think you really say Louis Vuitton, but we Americanize it and say Louis Vuitton.
Joey, we need to invest in some of those Supreme white T-shirts.
Yeah,
because those are those are going nowhere but up.
Well, yeah, they are Supreme, so I imagine they're pretty good.
That means the best.
I had reminds me of like a Supreme burrito.
Yeah.
I was thinking Supreme Pizza, like those frozen pizzas that had everything
which
on
is
it.
more toppings. Which
Mm.
is
Yeah.
ironic because their t-shirt is just a white t-shirt.
Exactly. That's funny.
Wow.
Is the Supreme brick actually a thing? Have you heard of this?
Brick?
There's like they sell a brick. Is that real?
Oh, I don't know. Boy, that wouldn't surprise me though, Amy. I mean, it's the stuff they sell is so stupid already.
I don't even know what. I don't know. I'm not so familiar with the Supreme. It's a streetwear brand. I see it here. Supreme clay brick. Weird.
Have you guys thought about doing a line of bricks?
We already do climbing holds. Isn't that close enough?
Yeah, but you could sell bricks.
I mean, yeah, we could. I don't know where the brick comes from. I don't know enough about the brand. If it's just... I don't know where it came from. If it's just a marketing gimmick that blew up, or if it actually has, like, a meaning to the brand.
They
I
took
don't
off
know.
on social media and they're like, we can do whatever we want. Here's a brick. I'll sell you a brick. Like this is what we think of our customers. Here's a brick
Oh
for you.
my.
Shut up and take my money.
Apparently. I mean, they've sold a lot. So weird.
Going back to the purses, Amy, I suppose that if you were going to do some level of purse, you'd have to do more of an activewear style purse, wouldn't you?
Yes. Yes. We've talked about doing, like, the fanny packs are super in. So we've talked about doing kind of like a little travel to go bag sort of a thing. So that's on our radar for now.
Okay.
And then the closest thing we did to a purse is with the On the Roam collection. We did the dirt bag, which is a like welded dry bag, so it's waterproof,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like a gear bag. And we did a mini version, and it's like it can be like a little tiny backpack,
Oh,
or it can be
nice.
a little hand carry purse. So that's kind of the closest we got.
Nice.
But maybe in the future, we've been thinking about it.
Do you have a favorite fashion period?
Oh, this is a great question. I like so many.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us
Well, you
tell us which ones you like.
Well, you guys know me and all my vintage clothes that I buy
Mm-hmm.
that I like so much. I went to Sedalia. I went back home this past weekend, and I went to my favorite vintage store because they were having Dollar Day. So they have a bunch of stuff that's just $1, and it was great. And I was texting Mom while I was trying stuff on because she had to work until 2, so I thought I'll go ahead, I'll try on the clothing, do the clothing side, and then we can meet afterwards, and then we can do the rest of the store together and look at everything else. So as I was trying on the clothes, I was so happy, and I was texting her, I'm like, this is how psychotic I get in the store. I'm about to cry right now because it's so great. Oh, but then she sent me a message back and she said, well, you're finding treasures. That's why you're so happy. And I thought, well, it's true. That's how I feel when I find something really great.
Mm.
But I would say I really like the 70s, but I mean, everyone does. So that's kind of a basic answer.
Yeah.
But I also like the 50s is pretty great. I don't know if you've seen The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Phil. If you've seen that new show on
I haven't.
Amazon.
I know of it, but I haven't
Okay.
watched it.
Yeah. It's set in the 50s, and it's like late 50s, early 60s, and it's just the most fabulous. She's the most amazing wardrobe ever. And it's just, that show is worth watching just to see the clothes. So, yeah. And I don't know, I've weirdly gotten a little bit of love for the 80s. I found some great pieces. I have to pull the shoulder pads out because those are just crazy. They're all about the shoulder pads, and I can't handle that. I don't want to look like a linebacker.
That is
But-
interesting.
Yeah, but I found a really great blue dress yesterday, and it's from the 80s. I'm like, this is amazing. I wore it today, and it was great. So I like a lot of different time periods.
What was that new movie with all the Dalmatians? Like Cruella or something like that?
Oh yeah, Cruella.
She's a victim.
Yeah, she's a victim.
That's what
She's
I
a
heard.
victim. It's not her fault. She wants to skin all the puppies.
How do they just rewrite Disney canon like that? And she goes from she wants to skin all the puppies to, oh no, she's just misunderstood.
Oh,
I
Um,
don't get it.
I think
Money?
she smoked some
Money.
marijuana or
Is
something.
Is the answer money?
the answer is money. I think Mulan,
Nice.
that crap Mulan movie they made like $1 billion.
Oh
Most
my
of it in China, I
gosh.
think.
That's
Oh,
CCP money.
interesting.
Yeah.
I have not watched that one yet, but I heard it wasn't great.
Anyway, the reason why I brought up Corella is because it's very fashion oriented.
Yes,
There's a lot of fashion in there. I hear.
Yes. I think
People
the main
people wearing clothes, shoes.
Now, are these designed clothes, Joey?
I'm not sure if they was designed by someone or if they just found them in nature or where the clothes come from. But yeah,
Might be organic clothes.
Yeah, it might be organic clothes. Like maybe like a big leaf as a hat or something like that.
Well, doesn't Cruella's main conflict come from the fact that she has naturally, like, strange, like her hair colors, one side is naturally all white and the all side is naturally all black, and she, like, has conflict because of that or something?
Yeah, that sounds like
But
a
sh- but-
villain
but-
just waiting
but-
to be there.
But she's able to, like, own it and it becomes her, like, weapon or something. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
seen the movie,
I
but
think
I read
she-
a synopsis.
Well,
Yeah, I think
and
she
the
kills some people.
the Dalmatians push her mother off the side of a cliff too. So
Mm,
I think-
the Dalmatians are the villain.
yeah.
that makes sense.
Basically,
yeah, I see-
closer. I mean, they're just trained.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do see.
Not even kidding. Not even kidding.
Okay.
That's a common occurrence according to the CDC. Dalmatians pushing people off cliffs. Yeah. Happens quite often.
If you couldn't tell, Phil, I'm very gullible, so I half believed you.
No, Phil.
No,
Phil's
I'm
part
telling
is
the
true.
truth. Actually, this is the truth. You can look this up.
Well, now I don't believe
Well,
you.
well, look up the screen rant for it. Look up the screen rant for Cruella. Yeah, and I'm actually,
Okay.
yeah, no, I mean, I wouldn't either, but I'm actually telling the truth on this one.
Okay.
And you talking about
That's funny.
finding treasures reminds me that last week I found part of a piece of pizza in my couch.
Nice.
so that was
Ooh, in
good.
the couch. Ooh.
All right, Amy. So, what's your
Yikes.
favorite conspiracy theory?
Oh, okay. I know that you've been asking this question to some other people, so I did think about it. I don't know that many. But have you ever heard the one, where some people think that Shakespeare wasn't just one person? Like he was multiple people, it was multiple writers?
I have heard of this.
All the same name.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
supposedly he. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I've heard of him like supposedly ghostwriting for like a duke or earl or something. Not ghostwriting, but he
Yes.
was the face of the publishing, and the duke or earl was ghostwriting. But I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, but I've heard that like they've thought it was a group of writers who were like working under one name or like multiple different people. It's weird,
Hmm.
but so I don't know. I don't have details, but it was interesting.
And so, did these people run the world at any point?
Probably
Okay.
the Illuminati are probably descended from them.
Probably, yeah. Like they used to just write some books. Now they're trying to kill everybody.
Yep. Oh, the other I did hear. Did you hear the Wayfair one? Where supposedly they were selling children.
I didn't hear that.
What?
I knew that there was this big uproar because supposedly they'd sold furniture to the immigration centers at the border.
Oh, well, maybe this is related.
Maybe.
Supposedly,
I mean, for
It
like
was
the kid cages.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Well, from what I remember, this was a little while ago, but there was like missing children, and then Wayfair would be selling furniture, and it would have like the same name of the child, like the Selena couch or whatever. I mean, that's a bad example. I don't think that's exactly what one was. But then people would be like, they're trafficking these children, they're selling these children. And the other thing was, it would be like a bizarrely expensive price. It'd be like $10,000 for a couch.
Mm-hmm.
And people would be like, it's not really a couch, it's a kid.
Huh.
So,
Oh
anyway,
my
that's
god!
all I remember from that one. But
I really
this was a
like-
little while ago.
I like this conspiracy.
Yeah, that's a
theory.
great conspiracy theory because how do you disprove it? You
You gotta
probably
buy the
can.
couch.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so weird. And then everyone was like, boycott Wayfair. They're evil. I
Mm.
stand against Wayfair. And I was like, what? How do you know this is true? This is so weird.
Hey, can you guys see my screen?
I can see
Yeah?
it here, yeah.
So Amy, I was trying to look
wait.
up.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. There
Yeah.
it came up.
I was trying to look up the scene where the Dalmatians push the lady off the cliff, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
So this will have to do. So
Hmm.
imagine that this is Corella's mom.
Well, here, Joey. We gotta tell people what's going on here in the picture.
Okay, so it's basically people cliff jumping into water.
And yeah, and when one is in midair,
Yeah, one's in midair,
jumping off the rock.
So I would imagine that this one is Corella's mom, and all these
Mhm.
people here are supposed to be Dalmatians. And yeah, that's pretty much how it went down. I
Yeah,
think.
that was a good
gosh.
recreation, Joey.
That was worth it. Also, I just now noticed that this girl is wearing climbing shoes.
Oh,
Mm.
she's a climber.
Yeah, so it ties back in full circle.
Yeah.
Nice. Them Soil shoes?
Because I think Amy, you
Zoom
work
in.
at a climbing company of some kind.
No, that was Ginny. We did that last
Oh,
week.
That's right.
Yeah.
She does
Zoom in.
surgery at the climbing company.
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that. Yeah.
It's all coming together.
Zoom and enhance, Joey. Are those
Oh.
so ill climbing shoes? Zoom and
These look
enhance.
like Mythos L Scarpus to me.
If I click watch stream, will that show me your screen moving? Because it's just showing.
Yeah,
your
yeah,
screen,
yeah.
like,
Click watch screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just showing your screen still. There we go. I see. Oh yeah, they are climbing shoes.
Those look like the
Those-
same shoes that I have, which are
Oh.
the
Those are the low end because she didn't have to cut her toes off to get in there.
Nice.
Looks
Yeah.
like her
Yeah.
toes are intact.
Also, you'll notice I don't see a trail of blood on the wall or
Mhm.
like where she's flying from. So
That-
that
yeah.
just
Good
that
clue,
just
Joey.
strengthens your theory. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
nice sleuthing.
Well, I hope they're on the low end if she's about to jump in the water,
Yeah.
because they will.
Well, these are the ones that are actually made out of leather, so they're probably not going to be very good for it.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Cows get wet all the time.
In them fields.
Like
yes,
you,
they do.
yeah, you see them out in the ring, and they don't like seem to really.
They don't shrivel up.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to affect them.
This is a Seinfeld bit, Joey.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that's fun.
How's this Seinfeld bit?
I don't know. It's just something he did in the 90s. He's like, what are the cows knocking on the farmer's door? Like, let us in! We're swayed!
Yeah.
All right, Amy. So I have one last question for you, Amy.
Yep.
Did you want to say anything about Lord of the Rings? Perhaps you wanted to throw some shade on us for our discussion of Lord of the Rings early on in this podcast.
No, I don't think there's really much shade. You guys had talked with Nathan.
I have a fun fact.
Yeah.
Do you know what the spider's name is? Is it like
Shelob?
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 You know, that her mother, way back in the day, like almost killed Morkarth. I think I'm saying that right, which is like the baddest of the baddies before Sauron.
Ooh.
And basically, the only reason why Morkarth survived is because he called his Balrogs. So he has like a squad of Balrogs.
He had multiple Balrogs?
Yeah, and he
That
had
is intense.
he had like a Balrog general.
Oh my gosh.
And
Was the Balrog general the same one Gandalf fought? Do you know?
No, that's a different one. But
Different one, okay.
he's famous for dueling with like an elf or something who like injured him a bunch of
Oh.
times, but still got stomped flat.
Oh, so was it Glorfindel? I can't remember, because Glorfindel dies at one point, but then he comes back.
I don't know. You're asking me questions now. I wasn't prepared for this.
It might have been Glorfindel because he dies, but then he's back and he's in the trilogy, but not very much. And he's not in the why he doesn't become one of the companions? You know why he's not one of the 9 companions?
Because he's too snooty.
They already had an elf.
They don't let him join.
No, he's too powerful, and they knew if they sent Glorfindel, Sauron would have been like, "Oh no, they're really up to something. I gotta pay attention because he's so crazy powerful." Anyway,
I think that might be the same guy who gets reincarnated. Yeah, you might be right, Amy.
Guessing so, but
you
my
probably have
lore
to
is
be
not
pretty
super strong.
powerful to face off with the Balrog.
Yes, I imagine so.
Well, Radagast the Brown was the real Lord of the Rings. Amy,
Yeah.
thank you for coming on today. We've really appreciated talking with you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
All right, Joey, talk time over.
Talk time over.